Hello everyone. So today I thought I'll probably show you the final outcome or the final version of the slides that I was working on for the past few days, in fact more than a week I guess, on Beamer. So I have started learning Beamer and I'm quite happy with the output, and I will show you the slide first, and then I will also talk about how I was able to implement it. So basically this is the let me just let me just try to talk about the slide. So if you look at the slide here, so right now I'm using a theme called as Berkeley, and this theme Berkeley is something which I quite like. I mean, I tried a lot of things, and initially I was playing with Madrid. Madrid is also good, but I was looking for a theme where there is some information about the section, like where you are. Now the way it works in Beamer, you have to specify in your setup that all the level 2 header items or tasks or headers, basically subtree, will become a slide. So anything that I have in my slide as a header, for example, if I look at this particular file here, so this is of course level 1. Now this is of course level 1, but anything under it will become like a separate frame or a slide. So that is what I want to do. Now at the same time, if you look here on the sidebar here, the level 1 items are basically nothing but sections. So there is a concept of sections. So these sections are nothing but hyperlinks. And good thing is that if I go to next slide, I can of course now take a look at of course on the left hand side on the sidebar, the first section, or basically anything that I have in this section will basically be highlighted, or basically the section itself will have a different color, like a whitish color. And of course I'm talking about myself, and I'm still on section 1, about us. Then I'll move to section 2, and before I go to section 2, you can also see here that before each and every section there is like a table of content for that particular section. So let me show you what how I did it, and I think I have pressed the wrong button to basically close my Emacs. Sometimes I just get too excited. So let me just do it very quickly. So I'll open the file and also the setup. So this is my org file, where it is nothing but a simple org file. The main thing that I want to show you is basically the setup file, because I have my own setup file for Beamer and also for simple plain LaTex. So this is something that I can open very quickly. Yeah, this is the right file. Okay, so the first thing is, and by the way, in this setup file, all the green lines are actually used. The other ones are commented. So you can use %sign in your to basically comment out your header. Now the theme is of course Berkeley, and I'm also doing some changes to the color, and also using it basically here in the. So there is a way to change the color, because if you look at the Berkeley theme, it is, I believe, blue, but I want some bluish tone. Now talking about how to insert the table of content before each and every section. So you can do that with the help of this line here. So this line where it says at begin section, you need to insert something like this. Like of course, now when I was learning Beamer, you can learn the documentation of, I mean, you can learn from the guide, like there is like a big PDF file, but it is always quicker to just search online, because I don't really want to spend like days, maybe months learning about Beamer or LaTeX, to be honest, because it's like an ongoing process. So I'm just trying to learn what I really need. And basically you need to insert this line, and then you will have this thing in your outcome. So this is number 1. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was basically how you can change the size. For example, if I show you one of my, and by the way, for my images, I'm basically using in my org file this particular variable, which is now set to 0.75. So images by default will have 0.75 width, but of course, for a specific image, I can always override it. So this is something that I can do. And I also want to talk about the size. So for example, if you look at this table, or maybe this, not this table, maybe if I show you this table, yeah. So this table has, of course, because when you have like a table with a lot of content, it will go outside your boundary or outside the page. So you can basically use something like this, for example, in your, maybe not this for example. So in your file, you can basically reduce the size of your tables and any content. For example, I want my table to have tiny size, and when you're using LaTeX, there are different sizes available. Straight away, you can use tiny, you can use script something, and then there is something called a small, and then large, and large with capital L and something like that. I mean, you can of course find online. So this is something that I have done so far, and I'm extremely happy with the outcome. It looks really good, by the way, because I really wanted to have subsections. You can also have, I mean, not really subsections, only sections listed here on the left hand side, but you can also have subsections. If you're using subsections, then you need to basically make sure your header level is set to 2, the hash 2 in your LaTeX on your basically header. But for me, I'm happy with this because my trainings are technical in nature, and my trainings are sometimes, usually my trainings are lengthy, and I want people to not, and also for me as well, as a trainer, or anyone who is basically using the slides to deliver a training. In a way, I don't really want to keep it too complicated, but at least if you have these sections listed here, you know where you are, like overall. For example, in this slide, Beamer slide, we have 51 pages, 51 slides, and it can take anywhere between 1 hour or 2 hours, depending upon what all I want to cover. And when you are doing some long trainings, usually my trainings are like long, like day or 2 days. In fact, sometimes a bit more than 2 days. So you need a way to remind people and also remind yourself about what all you have covered, where you are. For example, if I'm talking about something, I know that, okay, so far I have covered these 3 topics, and also these 2 are remaining. So it looks good. And especially if you're doing proper trainings, I think these things make sense. And I'm very happy with the outcome. I do encourage you as well to try Beamer. It is a bit difficult to use, to be honest, but if it is difficult, then it also means that you have a lot of options. You have a lot of flexibility. You can actually do a lot of wonderful things. And great thing is that it is nothing but an org file. So from just one org file, I can create maybe 1 or 2 or multiple slides. And I also use these variables, by the way. And I think I made a video. For example, in my org file, I usually have these variables, like what all I want to export, what all I don't really want to export, and not really variables, but tags, sorry. So basically, in this particular file, these sections are tagged with export, and these will be exported, nothing else. And you can do a lot of wonderful things with these things, because I can also generate not really a slide or a presentation, but a proper book or some kind of a guide or ebook from this. And because when I'm doing that, I want to export certain elements, because if I show you this particular presentation, let us say I'm talking about I want to export let us say these 6 or 5 bullet points, but I may have like some text. Maybe if I'm trying to generate an ebook or a book from it, then I will make sure that there is a there is either a tag to it or there is no tag to it, because with the help of exclude tags or select tags, I can decide what I want to exclude. So if I have like some paragraphs, I can tag it with no export and it won't be exported. So that is the great thing about org mode export features in general. All right, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new. Thank you very much. Bye bye.